Welcome into Browns Film Breakdown post-game show brought to you by FanDuel and Monfredi Dental. Good to have you all here filing in the chat. Love to see you here. We appreciate you stopping by. The Browns drop one to the 49ers 26-8 and fall to 3-9 on the season. 2-4 at home. Jake, the Niners go to 9-4 and 6-2 on the road as they are in good position in the NFC, a wild NFC that now has the Bears apparently as the number one seed, which is wild stuff. Let's start. I guess we have to address special teams first here. There's no better place to start, I don't think.
Or worse.
Yeah, it's the worst, right? So, a 66-yard punt return sets them up at the 16 in the first quarter. They later on muffed a punt. Larvadan did at their own end, and then to add it all off, Corley apparently not knowing the rule, I would guess, or maybe just instinctively as like a wide receiver along the sideline wanted to. All he has to do is put his foot out of bounds and catch that ball.
Yeah, I don't even think he had any idea about that rule, let alone like not catching it for the reason that it goes out of bounds and you get an illegal
just
procedure.
let it go out of bounds, first of
Yeah.
all. But if you're going to catch it, all you have to do, like guys do it all the time where they put one foot out of bounds and just catch the ball. That's a flag on the other team and you get the ball at like the 40-yard line, right?
Right. Yeah, man. That's the type of like and I get it. Some people will be like, "Hey, blame that on the execution of the plays." Well, you can't put anybody back there who doesn't
know the rule,
like that stuff. And are you practicing that with them? Are you tossing the football up on the sideline for them near the sideline to practice getting a foot out of bounds on that? And it's funny, like if Corley had and I like what he's done since he's come here.
Too.
I'm just, just to be clear, I'm not trying to totally bury him, but if he just would have gotten his foot down out of bounds, like he just like perfectly kept his foot down in bounds, like, oh, of course, he makes a beautiful toe tap catch on that couldn't have a toe down. You know what I mean? Out of bounds when you don't need it to be caught in bounds, sort of deal there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times. I mean, I guess it comes down to what from an organizational perspective, tolerance is between how you're coaching these guys, the types of players you're putting out there on specials, and then obviously, I would say like the tolerance for like the disconnect between the two. What I'm getting at is sometimes coaches are held accountable in an unfair way because the results are the results and it's a bottom line business. Like, I don't think Bubba Ventrone is necessarily coaching to lose like that. That's not what we're saying. Eventually you got to get the job done. I think the Browns have now allowed 3 more returns of an explosive return of more than 40 yards than any team in the NFL this year, especially their punt coverage team is anemic. And I'd have to go back and check as far as EPA lost on punt returns in a single season. They're up there. They're pushing the envelope on this. So, to your point, because of the 2 turnovers and Gage, you would like to think that your punt returner who is in practice all week, it was windy and snowy and nasty all week, could have a better feel for the way the wind was. Like the 49ers didn't have any issue with it. It's just like the Browns can't seem to get a guy. And I like Gage. He's been fine for most of this. He's actually been a net positive since he's been doing it, but it's just a hard thing to watch. But when you go look at the stats, the 49ers only had 252 yards. Their scoring drives on the day, Brad. A 6-play, 16-yard touchdown to McCaffrey off of the punt return.
Yeah.
The next one, then they have a 2-yard Purdy touchdown on a 9-play, 32-yard drive,
which is the turnover on downs, right?
And they have a 6-play, 18-yard drive, the Jennings touchdown on the muffed punt, and then another 9-play, 29-yard drive. They scored 4 of their 5 scores were on drives of 32 yards or less.
Yep.
And that's insane. I mean, there's just handing games away, and then there's doing whatever this was, which was like, we have no desire to win this football game because we're just going to compound mistakes over and over again.
It's so hard to watch them just give them the ball time after time, and the defense is playing hard and trying to keep them in this game. It feels like not that the offense wasn't playing hard. It's just they just gave them so many short fields. They just kept giving them the ball time after time. They gave themselves no chance. We'll go to the first quarter on top of the stuff. Well, I guess, what do you want to do with Bubba? Does it do any good? Once again, I asked this question weeks ago. Does it do any good to fire him mid-season to make a point of accountability on any of these guys?
Yeah, I don't know. You could. I mean, I certainly think he's helping you lock in a better draft pick. I think you and I have talked about some of this stuff. I think, to me personally, it's a tolerance for what he's doing in the building, how he's going about his business. That stuff is important. Things we don't know. I just feels like they're going to keep this staff in place through the end of the year. It's a month left now, and make a bunch of decisions on them at the appropriate time. So, yeah, I would understand, Brad, if they decided we need to change our thought process on specials. We can't tolerate it another minute. But I also think that it feels like they won't get knee-jerk reaction about the staff until the end of the season, for good or bad. It's their, whatever they're allowing is whatever. I just think, again, it boils down to a massive desire to win these games remaining on the schedule. And I don't think you and I have felt throughout many moments where we thought accountability could be taken in these games leading up to this has been a pressing desire for them. So I would expect no movement to be made there. And Bubba to get up in front of the microphone and say the same things Kevin does, which is, we got to play better. We got to be better. We got to coach them better. So it is hard to watch the Browns do things that you're watching on Saturday. It's nasty in Ann Arbor. Neither college kid has a struggle catching a punt. Like, you're just like, I just am trying to figure out how you can have a team in the NFL like this who does this, like, the simple things so incorrectly. Fumbling a fourth and like a quarterback sneak opportunity, dropping a punt, a linebacker at the NFL level who has the quarterback for pull on read or zone read at the goal line and decides, I'm going to go inside even though I have no chance to impact that run. I'm going to go inside like an undisciplined middle school football player and lets Brock Purdy walk into the end zone. It's constantly the attention to detail about doing your job with this team is so low. It's so low. So, hey, I mean, listen, you can make excuses about the lake effect wind all you want, but I didn't notice the 49ers punt returner having any trouble with it. And I guarantee if you bring Brandon Ennis from Ohio State up here to catch punts, he would have been just fine. But that's what the Browns are comfortable putting out there all the time, is guys who can't get the job done. So anyway.
Yeah, I think that's fair. In the first quarter, 4th down in the high red zone, they go for it, and I hate this that they do this, right? So they go for it on 4th and 1, which is fine with me. But like, the bring in the extra linemen, load everybody up in a tight, and then just run it right into the pile is so uninspired. And how many times have they come up short on those this year where like, it's so predictable? Like, do something else. We've talked about this earlier in the year. Where's your gotta have it plays on 4th and 1s, 4th and 3rd and 3s? Other teams have these creative gotta have it plays. Purdy pulling the ball on a zone read, whatever it is. Other teams have creative stuff in the bag that they go to on these big plays that generate a yard here. But the Browns just seem content to be like, just let's load everybody up in the tight box and run it right up the middle. It had no chance. And then they tried to get creative with Fannin. They can't. I guess that's maybe their gotta have it play. They want Fannin to take the snap on the next one because he, clearly breaks a lot of tackles. I don't think that's necessarily the same. I don't necessarily think that applies to him taking the snap and getting a yard the same way it does to him breaking tackles in the open field. But whatever. They're trying something different, but they can't even execute the snap there.
Yeah,
Those
certainly.
are two fourth downs that they missed on those. Yeah.
Right. I don't even have so much a problem with Fannin doing that. It's a similar thing to, Mark Andrews takes snaps under. There's tight ends across the league who will come across and do that.
Just execute.
But just to execute it like a normal football. They can't do those little things that, I mean, I couldn't help but and I'm not even trying to pile on Gage, but I just couldn't help but laugh at the moment of they can't do it. They cannot mentally get there to do it. And I don't know what to say other than you're either making those plays or not. And your staff ultimately is held responsible for whether you make those plays or not. This is a simple way to put it, but I don't really know what other way to put it. They can't get it done. And the offensive line continues to be a net negative. I mean, you and I talked about, we got Tevin Jenkins who's rotating in with Teller all week. Teller said, and this is a quote from, I think Zach Jackson got a hold of him in the locker room. He knew early in the week that he'd be rotating with Jenkins, said if he wasn't, said he wouldn't discuss injuries or much detail, but said reasons Stefanski said that Teller wasn't playing well enough, which I agree with. That's fine with me, but they can't create any displacement at the line of scrimmage. They constantly lose the push at the line of scrimmage situation. They cannot move it forward. And again, I think you look at the 49ers depth chart, you'd be hard pressed to know many of the guys playing on that defensive front for them at this point. Brad and I were looking at it all week. Okay, that's interesting, that's it. But you lose Conklin again, who's about as reliable as a McDonald's ice cream machine at this point in his career. You're playing Leviston, who moves so slow in space.
Yep.
Yeah, man. The offensive line needed to be really good this year, and it's been really bad all year. If you wanted any chance, needed to be really good, and it's been really bad.
And we, I mentioned this to you. The way they had one really good drive in the second quarter. Yeah. Second quarter. They get the ball and they run it 9 straight times. And they're getting gains. So they're getting Judkins is running well. And he's creating, I mean, what did he run for today? 90? He had a good day.
93. I can put those stats up like I always do for everybody. Here, I'll share those. But yeah, 23 runs, 91 yards.
4 per rush is pretty good behind that offensive line, right? 4 yards per carry. So he is great, right? And then, Elliott revenge game. He's running the ball well. Then they're sprinkling Corley in off the on the end around play that they've gone back to time and again. He made something out of nothing on that one. He was basically dead in the water, but breaks a couple tackles, gets 10 yards because he runs so hard. And Sampson also ran well on that drive, I believe, with a couple touches. But the point I was making is that entire drive, they never fell. So every play was a positive of 3 or 4 yards, right? They never fell into even one time where they gained 1 yard, and they had to overcome that. So it was all in rhythm. They were moving the ball down the field consistently on every play, and then they pivoted to a pass play. It was a good call. It got I liked the play design, as they said on the broadcast, where you got Fannin open on the second level there, kind of snuck him in behind the coverage, right? There's a little window there for Shedeur to hit him, and he, of course, bullies his way into the end zone. great drive there. But the thing that stands out to me about that is never once did they have to overcome anything on that drive. So it's a perfectly scripted drive, right? Right down the field. If you look at like every other drive, the rest of the game, anytime they gain 1 yard, so say it's 2nd and 6, and they only get a yard, and now it's 2nd, 3rd, and 5, they're screwed.
Yeah.
If they're not completely on schedule with every play, they can't overcome it. They can't overcome 2nd and 9, Jake. It totally throws them for a loop.
Right. No, it boils down to having, players who can be relied on to make plays, and having everything sort of around a quarterback to uplift it. And then, there's multiple routes you can go to make plays after failed situations. A quarterback who's a super who can, process, get things out, beat coverage, an offensive line who can protect forever, a run game that can, help take a chunk out. They just don't have any of that. So when you have a bunch of talent that's below par, they can't overcome much of anything. They can't.
Yeah.
And that's what's so hard about watching this offense. Like, for example, the fan and fumbled quarterback sneak. They had a first down throw of like 8 yards, 7 yards, and then run 2 times and can't pick up the first down and put themselves into 4th and 1. Like you run twice and can't pick up 2 or 3 yards, and they can't do it. They just cannot get consistently forward moving plays. And that sounds so elementary, but they don't have any consistency with it, man. They don't have things they lean on to create those opportunities for them in a way that is, stuff that makes the game simple for a play caller, that makes the offense simple. So, yeah, and that 4th down attempt, that first 4th down attempt you referenced earlier, Brad, there's Jack Conklin whiffs on a both Conklin and Bitonio try to go low and cut players and just whiff at the line of scrimmage, touch nobody. And it's like, why are you trying to cut guys that aren't like underneath players? Like, you can tell when a guy's stance is like underneath, he's going to try to cut underneath you. So I get that, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It is really a poorly functioning offense. I feel like it continues to be a poorly coached offense. And I feel like the defense is one of the only 3 units that we thought would obviously be trustworthy, and they are, and they're coached well, I feel like. But the offense needed these out. Like, we talked about so much of this in the early, lead up to the season. The offensive line had to be really good. They had to get a really consistently a productive run game, and they had to be lights out on special teams. And those things just have not happened. And that is why you're in the position they're in.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about complimentary football so much, and they are objectively probably the worst complimentary football team imaginable. Like, they never, like, they do the opposite. They leave their defense with no field, right? Like, they give them short fields consistently. They don't play field position well at all. So anything to say? The defense played hard. They played well at times. They held up for portions of the game, and then they broke down in the pass game, kind of on a few things. Anything that stood out to you there? Is that just a matter of too many short fields, too many opportunities?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the 3rd down stuff, that's where Shanahan is just so good, and Purdy processes it out so well. You know what I mean? What are they? It's in front of us. They're 11 of 17 in the heart of the game. They were 10 of 15 before they kind of were just playing it to get the game over with late there in the 4th quarter. So we'll go back and watch the 3rd down stuff, and some of them weren't short. Some of them were, the deeper range, but the 49ers probably went for 252 yards just because they didn't have to go downfield very often. They didn't have, that's the same. Remember the strategy that we've talked about, teams, Miles noted, We just need to play it safe. We'll take advantage of their mistakes and we'll capitalize. And that's the perfect game plan for playing the Browns was in place here, right? Capitalize on your short fields by getting in the end zone more often than not, convert your third downs and, be opportunistic. And that's what they were. And it's an example of like, we don't fear the Browns offense. So what do you think of Shador's play before we split out of here?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And 11 of 17 on third down
it's way too high.
That's not great for the defense there. And that was what was so painful is because they seemed like they were so close to getting pressure on Purdy. He just kept escaping just to throw it away, live to play the next down, and then convert on third downs. It was kind of backbreaking, the whole thing to watch. Yeah, let's talk about Shador. His final stat line today is 16 of 25, 149 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was great. I didn't think he was very good today. I thought he was better last week. Something has to happen where his internal clock with this game in the NFL game, I mean, has to pick up, become faster. He just holds the ball so long in the pocket. Like they give him 2 seconds in the pocket. The ball's got to be out, man. Right?
Yeah.
And he just wants to stand there and just look all across the field like he's going to have protection forever. And it eventually breaks down. There were times he was protected today and he just stands there.
That was the knock, man. He is a slow, and I'm telling you, I'm not trying to bury him. He made some good throws today. He's got natural talent. It's the knock coming out of Colorado was the time he spent lingering deep in the pocket, inviting pressure, chasing plays downfield, or just not seeing it in time, not throwing anticipatorily. I will break it down tomorrow. It was a rough weather game. The wind was howling. Understand all of that. But the things that we knew about him are still there. And he has had better moments staying in the pot, but it takes him too long. And that's like somebody just asked about the confrontation on the sideline with Jeudy. Did you see this during the game?
I missed it.
So they were talking and he's getting kind of heated, looking at the tablet. Judy's pointing at the tablet, clapping his hands. He's not playing quick enough mentally, and it's frustrating him. I don't listen. I'm just guessing based on what I'm seeing, looking at that, and I'll try to find the exact moment because it's in between the third and fourth quarters, is the way he's holding his hands, talking about, looks like he's saying ball needs to be out, clapping his hands, like that tempo up type stuff where you would say, clap your hands, is what we're talking about. But again, Shador is a young quarterback in the NFL, but trying to learn it, trying to get the speed of the game right, his second start. But the things that were concerning are the tempo with which he plays the game. It is sometimes very slow. So if it doesn't pick up, he's going to hold on to those balls that are sometimes going to really frustrate an offense and frustrate, the coaching staff and put them in some spots that are tough to deal with. I do think, again, he made some nice throw, had some nice moments. And I think, again, he navigated the pocket better, but at times the tempo has to pick up. And again, I'm rewatching the Jerry Jeudy thing. That you don't clap your hands unless you're telling someone like that to play faster. So, it's just, that's the anticipation. So the NFL, you can't see guys open. You have to anticipate them open. If you don't, then that's going to be, not that Jerry Jeudy is a beacon of he's doing everything right. We know that situation well enough, but I do think that what we're watching at times and some of these decisions are just slow and they need to pick up. So it's Jerry Jeudy's not a leader. But I can just give you feedback on why he's looking frustrated, what he is saying specifically in that moment about picking up the tempo. But that's probably not the greatest messenger available to pass along that info.
But somebody looking at the tablet and saying, look, ball out here, you know what I mean? That needs to be covered. Clearly he's not getting that aspect of it. And it's his second start. So I don't expect him to, How did he play his first second start? Not great, but not awful. Like you said, there were some moments, a good touchdown pass. Um, Still some process stuff, a little messy that they need to get down, like the illegal formation again, because he doesn't wait for Judy to get set, right? Judy also needs to get set faster, I would say as well. Taking a long time to get his footwork right or whatever before that. So all of that just needs to be better as a team. Those penalties drive me insane that they still have that, right?
Mhm.
The illegal formation or the illegal whatever. Yeah, and then like you said, he his internal clock just has to be faster. It's got to be 1, 2. I got to know where I'm going with the ball, or
Mhm.
it's out, right? And it's just not coming out. And instead, he ends up standing there and then scrambling today much more back and just throwing it away, right? Where he was, as you say, he was kind of punched out of the pocket laterally more last game instead of back and out, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see on the film what was open and what wasn't downfield. If he missed stuff, if or whatever. The one that stood out to me in the game it was the fourth down or the third down, fourth or third, in 16. It was games out of reach, doesn't matter. But Bond was open, and he was open most of, like, at least appears that he was open for a long period of time as he runs the over route on the field. But the ball doesn't get thrown to him until he's all the way on the opposite sideline. And there's two guys there. Like, he's ran himself into more coverage, and then the ball's thrown to him. Why isn't the ball come out when he's open on the over? We'll have to look at the film and see. But that, for one, certainly jumped off the page to me as like, that's an example of where you got to just let it go, man.
Yeah, no, there's no, we got to get better vision on it. Like you said, Brad, we'll watch the bigger picture of the all 22. But again, to be fair, it's a second start. It's a really bad weather game, and I expect to see more. Like, the sample size will grow for him, right? Like, he'll get some more opportunity. Expect him to get the next set of games. And what you want to do is you have this set of games. He's starting, here's his baseline. Can he get better from that baseline, right? There's still enough there that I'm encouraged about him doing what he's the processing that needs to be improved on, but finding some solutions. It's not all bad. So he's going to keep starting, and I think he should. And it's like, can he show he can do some more of those positive things consistently? I'm open to watching it. It's going to be interesting to see. I'd like the group to play better around him, but as we can see, that's a little bit tumultuous at this point. So we'll figure that out when we can. But yeah, we'll go back and watch this film, try to figure out where the big thing we're trying to figure out is players that matter for next year. We hope Malik Collins isn't too serious, and it doesn't linger into next season. That's obviously a big thing that we're all paying close attention to. So anyway,
Kevin,
that's go ahead.
Kevin, according to the chat, Kevin has committed to Shedeur for next week, which is great news. He needs more starts, right? Like, and just we can leave on this. I just want to ask this to you. It's a good question in the chat. And I agree with you with the chat saying judging Shedeur on passes that Dillon would never take is crazy. I don't. Here's the thing: is it's no longer really about comparing Shedeur and Dillon. I don't think. I don't think the comparison matters anymore.
No,
it's just evaluating Shedeur. Is he good enough to be a starting quarterback in this league? And I think that's what we need to find out. Which is why I think smartly the Browns are giving him at least some starts here, so we can see that out. The other question was, picking up the processing speed, throwing with anticipation. Is that something he can work on and change, Jake?
Well, it can. I mean, it certainly can if you start to understand how pieces move, how guys get open, what coverage is unfolding, and get more accustomed to it. It can. It's not guaranteed, but it can. So that's a matter of a guy working at it and trying to improve upon something they've struggled with, right? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it can. I wouldn't say it does for every guy, obviously, but it can change if he's willing to recognize that, get better at it, that sort of thing. For sure. It's a quad injury for Malik Collins, by the way.
Okay.
So they're going to get imaging on the quad, and then we'll kind of go from there. So,
The
yep.
the thing that remains to scare me the most, Jake, and I'll leave you with this thought. Um, it's never been more clear to me that this has to be um a new voice and a new head coach going into next year. And the comfort at which Stefanski loses these games, talks about next week, just continues to bring fear towards to me. Like he just seems way too comfortable in losing these games, like he's been given a pass, and that continues to scare me to death.
Yeah. I don't have the answer on it, man. We'll see. We'll see what
Yeah.
they're gonna do. I
Yeah.
they would find it crazy to
Seems
run the
insane.
staff back as it is. I'd also find it crazy to run back Kevin and then obviously like fire more coordinators around him, have a fourth offensive coordinator, have a
Can't do
third
that.
special teams coordinator. That some of that stuff that would be insane. But what's a problem, and where I'm most bummed is this is the 23rd losing season in 27 seasons since coming back in 99. 23 of 27 seasons under 500. The next closest teams in that span is 17 seasons. You've beat the hell out of your fans. You beat them to death, and you lose them with this stuff. You're losing them. You're losing a generation. You are. Kids don't want to follow losing teams. And like, who mom and dad want to follow, that's cool to an extent, but it doesn't always work that way. You are losing fans, man. And you can do, well, we made a bad trade and we'll bounce back, and you can make a bunch of excuses, but you are who you are, which is a team that's only had 4 winning seasons since 1999. And the pressure is on for I just wish there was someone that could hold Jimmy Haslam accountable, because this is it's just a wild thing.
Unfortunately, that's not the case. Kind of why I think that, I don't want to even get in. Kind of why I think that maybe Barry staying might be a good thing, just because he at least provides a buffer between, hiring the next coach isn't all on Jimmy Haslam now. In whatever committee of gurus he puts together, if at least Andrew's here, at least he would have, some insight into hiring the next coach if they fire the coach, which they should. So, just a thought.
They have put themselves in a place where their job should be on the line. We'll see if the promises, outweigh all of that. The guarantees or whatever outweigh all of that. But I also don't know that I would expect Kevin to act the way Kevin is. From what we've seen over the years, I don't know that I would expect him to even act any differently if his job was on the line. Like, he's just so flatline that I don't even know. Would Kevin coach differently if his job was on the line and he knew it? I don't know, Brad. I don't get what you know what I'm saying. I'm just kind of like guessing on this, just the way we are all guessing.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that he would do anything different. He did rip the Band-Aid off on the play calling. He did rip the Band-Aid off and play Shedeur. So I don't know. There's a lot to figure out in the next month. That's what we do know. Big decisions to be made, and the staff would help themselves by not having these types of games the rest of the way, where you're all sitting together on Monday morning, and it's like or tonight, you're sitting together tonight after the game, and you're handing football game. I don't mind teams beating them where they earn it. They earn it. But this stuff where you're handing away football games, is just the most unacceptable level of football there is. It's just not. It's not. It's not. Again, I don't mind if you even give up 200 rushing yards. It's handing teams drives. You see it in front of you guys. Handing teams 4 drives of 32 yards or less to beat you.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the stuff that is not tolerable and shouldn't ever be tolerable for like anyone inside of an organization. But we have yet to see them talk about that in a serious way. So that's it for the show today. We appreciate you coming by. I know Brad also echoes that sentiment. We will be back with plenty of content in the coming days. The opening drive will be tomorrow. We'll have, film room on the offense and defense as we always do. We don't let down any of that stuff. But we know this is it's going to be a tough December. This is effectively the season is now over, and now it turns into finding things to pay attention to. Miles got his 19th sack today, pushing towards that. So find some things to pay attention to. We'll continue to look forward as best we can because we are no longer in the hunt anymore. We are out of the hunt. We are the hunted, I guess, maybe. So anyway,
back to Draft Watch.
Draft Watch is it. But we'll, this will be over. We'll be in the off season. We'll be talking about stuff maybe a little bit more fun.
Did the Jets win?
We'll see. I don't even know, actually. Haven't been looking at that through this. It looks like
they did.
They did. There you go. So the Falcons pick keeps getting better for the Rams. There you go, Rams. It's what you deserve. So anyway, that's it for the show. We'll be back. Appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by. And check out brownsfilmbreakdown.com, where we still have a fantastic Black Friday deal going if you would like to get in on that for this time of year and obviously the more important things coming for the off season and things of that nature. So thanks for being here, and we appreciate you. Go Browns.